In this chapter, we're going to add delete functionality. Okay, we're going to be able to clear out all of our to-dos as well as delete them one by one. And if we get to it, we're also going to work on editing them, because right now we can add them, we can list them, but we can't edit or delete them. Alright, so I'm going to start with the easiest part, which is to give functionality to this clear all to-dos button. Alright, there's we can use with the local storage API, we can use the clear function to just get rid of everything that's in local storage. Alright, so what we're going to do is, in the HTML, we want to find the clear all to-dos button, and we want to get its ID, which is clear button. So we want to grab that from within jQuery, and I'm just going to place this down here. Okay, so we'll grab that by its ID, and we just want to give it a click handler. When it's clicked, it'll run a function, and all we need to do here is say local storage dot clear, and that's it. That should clear out everything for us. So let's save this, and let's go and reload and click on clear all to-dos. Alright, so we have an issue here, and that basically is that we're not reloading. Alright, so you can see how the button is just blue, which is kind of weird, but if we reload, you can see that it did clear all the to-dos, but we don't want to have to reload. We want it to just clear them. So when you use jQuery mobile, when you go from page to page, by default it uses Ajax, and it doesn't do a full page reload. So what we need to do is disable the Ajax when we click this button. Alright, and all we need to do is add an attribute. Okay, so for the button here, or the link with the ID of clear button, we just want to throw in an attribute called data Ajax, and we just want to set that to false. Alright, so if we try this again, let's add in a to-do. And we'll add another one just to make sure. Alright, so now it just clears right out. Alright, so just remember that if something's not refreshing, you just try this out, this attribute here. Alright, so now we want to work on deleting the actual a single to-do. So let's go ahead and create one. And we'll just create a couple. Alright, so if we click on a to-do, we go to the edit page, and we have a delete button. Okay, now actually, you know what, before we go into the delete, let's do a few other things. I want the to-do name and the date to display here when we enter edit mode. So what we're going to do is create a couple more local storage variables when we enter the edit page. We want a current to-do name and a current to-do date, and that will fill these boxes in with that. So if we go to our JavaScript file, what we want to do is when a to-do is clicked, we're going to have a handler, and basically we're going to set those items. Okay, so for whatever we click on, that's the event, that's the to-do name and date that we want to be current. Okay, so in our JavaScript file, we'll do this right above the clear to-dos. We want the list, the to-dos list, which has an ID, of to-dos, and we're going to use event delegation. We're going to use the on function. So we're going to say on click. Okay, now with this, for some reason we can't do todos.click, which is basically the shorthand way of handling events. We're going to use this delegation. Alright, so on click, and in here we want to put to do link, and then the next parameter will be a function. Alright, so we're going to set the current to do name and current to do date. So local storage should be uppercase. Local storage dot set item, and we're going to call this current to do name. And what we're going to set this to is we're going to use this this dot data to do name. Actually, we want to get rid of the semicolon. Alright, so this right here, this data to do name, is pertaining to let me just find it real quick. Homepage. Oh, actually, what we're looking for is it was generated right here. Alright, so the list ID, the link with the ID of to do link. Alright, you can see that we have a couple attributes here. We have data to do name, which is going to be equal to the value of the to do name, and we have the same with the date. So this is what we're grabbing down here. Alright, and we just want to get the date as well, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, so this will be current to do date, and that's going to get the data to do date attribute value. Alright, so it should create this local storage item when we click on it. So if we go back out, let's go ahead and use our Chrome tools, and you want to go to resources, local storage, file. Alright, so let's click on to do, and I think if we refresh, alright, so we refreshed, and now we do have the current to do name and date. You can see it's the one we clicked on, which is test to do 3, and the date. We don't want to have to reload, so we might have to do something about that. Let's go to another one, and right now it's at test to do 3. If we go to test to do 2 and reload, it still says 3. Alright, oh okay, so it did change to 2. Now what we want to do is insert these items into the form when we're on the edit form. Alright, so if we go to our JavaScript, let me just indent these. Alright, so what we're going to say here, we're actually going to actually no, this is fine. We're going to say document dot on. Okay, so document on page show. Okay, so we can write a function here to run whenever a certain page is shown. Alright, so the second parameter is going to be the page, which is going to be edit. Alright, so we're going to run a function. Alright, so whatever we put here is going to happen when the edit page shows. Alright, so we're going to assign a couple variables. Current to do name. Okay, and we're going to get the local storage variable. Okay, and we're going to do the same with the date. And I mean, there is a million ways that you could do this. This whole app could be done many different ways. I'm just trying to pick the least difficult to understand. Alright, so what we're going to do is we want the edit form input to reflect what the current to-do name and date is. Okay, so we need to grab that. So let's see, edit form, which is right here. We have a couple inputs, to do name and to do date, so we want to grab those. So we're going to look in the edit form input, and we're going to grab it by its name. Grab the inputs by their name, which is the same thing, to do name and to do date. Okay, so input name. Actually, we don't need quotes there. To do name. And we're going to use the this keyword, and we want to get the value. Okay, so value, and what we want to put in the value is the current to do name. Okay, so we want to insert that. We're going to do the same thing with the date. So name to do date, and then we're just going to change this to date. Alright, so let's see what happens. Let's go back, refresh. Test to do 3 gets input, the date both get inputted into the form. If we click on test to do 1, that also gets input. Alright, so that's how we're going to get the text that we want to edit into the form. And then ultimately we want to be able to change this to whatever we want, resave it, and have it take the place of the old text and date. Now before we do that, I want to add in the delete functionality so that we can delete just one to do, because right now we can only delete all of them. Alright, so let's go in right. Just go right here, and we want delete functionality. Alright, so the edit form, so we're going to use the on method again. So on click, and we want to put in what we want clicked, which is going to be the button with the ID of delete. Alright, let's see, and then we need a function. Okay, so when that delete button's clicked, we want to put the current to do name and date inside a variable. So I'm going to actually copy this. That's all it's doing, is just putting it in some variables for us to work with. Alright, then what we want to do is loop through the to-dos. So we're going to use a for loop. Alright, so we're going to say for, and we're going to set a variable I equal to 0. and we want to say as long as I is less than to-do list dot length, and we want to increment I. Alright, so as long as there's to-dos left in the list, then we're going to run the loop. Okay, and then in the loop we're going to say if to-do list I, so whatever the current iteration is, dot to-do name is equal to the current to-do name, then we want to delete it. Alright, so if we click delete, it's going to check the current to-do name, and if it matches, then we want to delete it from the array, and we can use the splice function for that. So we'll say to-do list dot splice, okay, and we're going to put in the I for whatever that current iteration, and 1, and that should delete that value. Alright, so then under here we want to reset the to-do list with the value deleted that we just deleted. Alright, so storage, local storage dot set item to-dos, and then we're going to use that function again, JSON dot stringify to-do list. Alright, so pretty simple. It's going to go through the to-dos, and if the name matches the current to-do name, it's going to delete it, and then it's going to kind of just reset the array with that one deleted. Alright, so let's give that a shot. Okay, so let's go to test to do 1 and click on delete. Okay, it didn't do anything, but let's go and refresh, and you can see that it is gone. So what we need to do is when we delete a to-do, we want it to redirect to the home page, okay? And we can do that inside of this delete block. We'll say close and go home. Alright, so the syntax we can use here is $ dot mobile dot change page. Okay, so we're going to pass in where we want to go, which is going to be home. Alright, now next is the type of transition for the redirect. We're just going to use the pop transition, and I think we can just leave it at that. Alright, so let's save this and let's reload. Go to test to do 2, delete. Alright, and we're redirected. Now you can see it's still there, but if we reload, it goes away. Alright, so what I'm going to do here may not be the optimal thing to do, but I'm just going to throw in another page show block for the home page, and then just reload. Okay, so it will just reload, refresh everything when we go to the home page. Okay, so I'll just do that right under here. So we want to change edit to home, and I'm just going to do a simple refresh with the window object. So window dot location dot reload, and again, that might not be the best thing to do, but it's going to solve our issue for now. Alright, so let's just add another to do, whatever. Not sure what just happened. On page show, home, window location. Let me try that again. Alright, so something is unexpected identifier 77. 77, oh, okay, I need our parentheses and semicolon. That broke the whole script. Alright, so let's try this again. Click on it, okay, delete, and it deletes from the home page. Alright, so we get that functionality covered. So the last thing we're going to do is we want to be able to edit our to-dos. I was going to put it in this video, but it's getting kind of long, so we'll do that next in the next video.